Hello and welcome to Contact with the Beyond Part Talk. Today we have a special guest. Her name is Gosia and her channel is Cosmic Agency. Gosia, welcome. How are you?
Thank you very much. I'm very well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm just fine. I'm happy to have you here.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by this topic. I've never done the specific topic that you invited me to speak about.
Yeah,
So
but
it's
let
going to
us
be
explain to the people first who's Gosia and Cosmic Agency. If not, they can't follow us. What is Cosmic Agency, Gosia?
Cosmic Agency is the YouTube channel that I own starting December 2017, a bit earlier than that. I first started in Spanish, and then I opened an English version. So now I'm running two channels, AGENCIA COSMICA, that's in Spanish. And it is the channel, well, originally when I opened it, I intended for it to be just interviews with just people, UFO researchers, investigators, metaphysical people of all kinds. It was just my hobby channel that I had on the side. I used to be an English teacher at that time in Barcelona, in Spain. And then something extraordinary happened in December 2017, and that transformed the nature of my channel completely, and it's been never the same since then. And that is in 2017, in December, we were introduced into the group of Taygetan Pleiadians, who are an extraterrestrial group of people stationed in the orbit of the Earth. And we started communicating with them. And we started communicating them directly online, word by word conversations almost every day. And it was very friendly. It was just some sort of a mess. We always changed the platform because one didn't work and then the other. So, sorry. And in the beginning, it was just friendly. We were just talking as friends. I was introduced to them by Robert, who is kind of like my work partner. He's doing the same, but in Spanish only. And before that, we were introduced to them by another person. And that's how it started. We were talking, like I said, as friends. They were explaining to us different things regarding their life there in the orbit. We were not the only ones. I have to say this. We were not some chosen people, elected few, because at that time they were talking to many people. And we just fell into that group of people that they were open to talk to. And after a while, we realized, okay, this is great. We have to share this. We started to share the information. And I started sharing the chats on my channel, Cosmic Agency. And it started as a series of videos, chats with Svaro Oferra. And we go through different topics. Like I said, it's not a channeling. So this is very important because I don't come up with this myself in a way. It's a person-to-person conversation, word for word. And I am sharing in those videos exactly what was said. Of course, edited here and there. Mm-hmm. I take out some more personal stuff or things that are not more relevant to the people. So we started going over many subjects, mainly metaphysical and spiritual, but also genetics, biology, history, science. We were going deep into the navigation. That was in the early days. And then when the global situation happened around 2019, 2020, we also started sharing information on that topic. A lot of that is not on my YouTube channel, it's on my Odyssey channel on Cosmic Agency because it's a lot of censored materials. And we continue sharing and sharing and sharing. And this continues until today. So this is what Cosmic Agency is a channel, is a YouTube channel, not a channel. That word may be wrongly associated. A YouTube channel where I share word-for-word communication with those Taygetans from the Pleiades.
And
it's over 500 videos at the moment.
And it is very interesting because all what they're saying makes completely sense. And when you follow the videos, the explanations, there comes never up the idea, wait, they said before something what was very different, it doesn't fit anymore. It fits every time. And so it can't be a human being behind it. The knowledge is too high.
Yes.
It could be an artificial intelligence, but when you started, artificial intelligence was not so much developed to have this high philosophical and scientific conversation. And so I was following you for some years, and I saw most of the videos, and one was highly interesting to me, and I think for the audience as well. We speak here about unreal humans. And so this is a big topic, because how can be a human unreal? We don't speak about cloning or something else.
No.
We really speak about someone who is, well, from the Matrix invented, right?
Right. This was one of the first topics that actually we examined with Varuofera. Before I continue, I just do have to make this disclaimer to something you said. You said that when you study the material, everything always fits, and it does, but some information does change. So I do have to state that. Some of the ideas or some of the concepts expand or maybe are presented in another angle from another person. Like right now we have Marisva, who is right now making her own videos in her own channel, Zvaro Oficial, but that's like another very important another element to mention. Maybe I'll mention that again at the end, because these are direct videos made by the Taygetan from the ship directly every day for 2 years now. So when Mari came, she did offer some of the new perspectives, some of the new information, some of the information, for example, on vegetarianism and veganism. That changed, because in the beginning it was given from a different perspective, and then new data came along. So they are always encouraging to evolve with new information, not be cemented into one lane of thought and information. If new data presents itself, you just have to flow with it and be open to it, not be stagnant. So that's just a clarifying point on that, just to be totally fair. So unreal people, yes, we started looking at this from the very beginning, and these are basically people who have no soul, soulless matrix people, as Dolores Cannon, actually, she was one of the first ones that mentioned this. As she stated, background people, backdrop people who look like they are real. They talk and they have reactions and they have jobs. And when you touch them, they are there. They will bleed if they are cut, but they are just a manifestation of a human matrix collective.
Is it the human collective, or is it the 3D matrix, what is printed from the moon in our reality?
Okay, this is where it gets interesting, because this is where we get different perspective on this. So in the very beginning, where they were explaining to us what the matrix is in general, they were giving us 3 ways, because you have to understand more or less what the matrix is to then go into the non-real people. So they were giving us these 3 ways of interpretation of what the matrix is. And first is a interference with the human consciousness that is done artificially from the moon, like you said, a frequency projector that transmits specific destructive frequencies. It's called destructive interference, and that limits the range of perception of human beings on the planet Earth. This is a long story why it has been done. We have videos about this, but it's basically done from the moon. So in a way, it's done through the Van Allen bands, and it does create this sort of a limiting perception bandwidth here on Earth. However, they are stressing the point that this is no way limiting for us. That this is sort of just creating an ambience, maybe through which it's a little bit more challenging to connect to the higher frequency and maintain. But that's another story. That's exactly why some of these ETs come in here now, because they do see it as a challenge. So as a challenging, enriching experience. So that's like one way to see the matrix: destructive frequencies, destructive interferences projected from the moon. And then this also involves, this was said in the beginning, this also involves artificially projecting certain things that do not exist into this realm. And this also includes the hologram around the moon. What we see is not natural, because the moon is a old, abandoned, damaged Andromedan starship, and what we see is a hologram. So we were explained that the moon in a way superimposes certain images onto the surface. And how it's doing is that it's kind of reading the human collective and individually our minds, and then projects it somehow into the false reality on Earth, because this is what the Earth reality is to start. It's all false. You can make it a beautiful experience and manage yourself around it and manifest things, of course, but basically it's a false construct. Yes.
Can I interrupt you here for a moment to explain or to dig a little bit deeper into the ideas? We mentioned there's coming something to limit our thoughts, to manipulate us from the moon. Yeah. Basically, the moon was a spaceship what came for more than 12,500 years here. And this is something what I had in interviews from many authors. There it is written in old documents that the moon was not every time here. So it was to the time when we have the big flood. After it, this has something to do because the rotation of the Earth was not going well. We had summer, winter, and autumn in one day. And so to stabilize the rotation of the Earth, the ETs, we used an old sphere, what is the moon, to stabilize our Earth. And this you can find in old documents. So, but there was a big problem more. There was here on Earth a big competition between regressives, ETs, and human beings, the Adams, not Adam's family or something like this, the Adams as well. This in old documents you can find. And so here we have now a base that people can follow us. It has as well something to do with archaeology, what you can prove it is true. And what is true as well is that the moon, from a scientific point of view, is something extraordinary. Older layers of stone is above, younger below, they say it. It is not an eclipse, or the way how the moon is going around the Earth is very special. So it shows there is something not real, not from nature. And it seems like that inside the moon, in the kernel of the moon, are, well, atomic plants, generators. 12, 4 are still working. And those ones are in charge to lower the vibration on Earth. This means if you feel with your mind like in the clouds, if you have problems to think clearly, you have to consider there's something going on the moon. And now from this idea, we can build up now human beings, they are unreal, cities And nature, it is not really there, but we can touch it, we can feel it, we can listen to the people, but they are generated. It is holographic, right?
Well, okay, that was some sort of information given by Anneka of Temer a long time ago when she was talking about these holographic inserts, and that's what I started this with. I said that there is this artificial projection of things. However, and this is very important, and this is the most important thing, and this also ties in with what I said, that when the new people come, there are new perspectives and new expanding ideas. They are stressing the point that none of this matters, none of these projectors and the moon really matter if without our creative consciousness giving it the sustenance. In other words, what that moon does and whatever all that does is just propitiating a certain environment, but then what it needs us. It needs the creative consciousness and the collective and the individual mind to sustain it. So Matrix, in a way, that's why the controllers spend so much time controlling and guiding the perception of the humans on Earth, because they know that by exploiting our creative power, they can guide what we are going to manifest and what we are going to collectively desire and want. And that's what this Matrix then, whether it's using the technology of the moon or not, it doesn't really need that actually anyway, because the whole reality is manifested metaphysically anyway through your own individual and collective mind. So those moons and technology and reactors is just like a side element in the story. But what's the foundation here of the Matrix sustenance is us, is our mind, and it's our creative power, and that's most important here to realize. And this does relate to the unreal people. So it's not necessarily that there is something on the moon projecting holographically people into this planet Earth. It's you see, I'm not a super expert on this subject, so I'm trying to find thoughts to explain this. It's using more than anything our own mind to manifest that. So we are actually, in the end, the ultimate generators of those unreal people. We come into this matrix and we are kind of establishing the agreement with this false artificial reality matrix realm, that this is what it's going to be like, that this is a game, that this is a play field, that we need these backdrop people as elements to our movie. They are basically like complements to our movie set. We need certain people or things, situations to stimulate our reactions, because many of these ETs now incarnate into this realm to experience these reactions, to experience situations, to experience encounters with the people that they do not have out there. So we are collectively and individually projecting this, the moon technology being involved or not. Like I said, it's us who are ultimately doing that. So I could go on, but if you want to ask me any question at this point, I have more points to cover on the topic.
Yes. You see, I take connections from all what I am aware of in this context. Why was this matrix or this lower vibration used here on Earth? Behind the Van Allen bands, we speak about the fifth density. We are here in the third density. We don't speak about dimension, it is all the same. We speak here about frequency, a frequency soup. Why it was lowered? What is the reason?
Well, it does have to do with the Tiamat Wars and Orion Wars, Tiamat explosion. It's a very, very big story. We have the videos about this as well. By the way, you don't have to watch the videos. You can just go to the website and read the transcripts of any of these topics. But a very, very long story short, what happened there was that okay, let me just regroup my thoughts on the story. After the Tiamat Wars, and after it exploded, like you said, the Earth had to be stabilized because the whole dynamics of the astros was disturbed. There was a pole shift on Earth. The rocks were flying through the Earth. There were a lot of species that went extinct on Earth and on other planets as well. So that had to be stabilized somehow. So they towed this old damaged Andromedan spaceship, biosphere ship, here into the orbit, and that was supposedly one of the reasons to make this happen. And then, one of the reasons to project those lowering frequencies from the Earth using the magnetosphere was to separate the remaining people here on Earth, together with the reptilians, the bad guys as well, to separate them here, to enclose them here, so to speak, until the Federation, because this is Federation's job, until the Federation can find time and energy, because they were very weakened at that time after the Tiamat's war, until they can figure out how to deal with the situation. So one of the reasons was to enclose these bad guy regressive ETs here so they cannot leave the magnetosphere. That's what the radiation Van Allen bands were created as a result as well. And the side effect of this was lowering of everything here on Earth. And then also this ties with many ET races after that wanting to experience this game here on Earth and this challenging hard life, because as many of these ET souls believe, us, by the way, that's why we are here, we are them. This is a very, very mind-expanding experience. It's very short. It doesn't really matter from that higher perspective. So we come in here, and now we have these opportunities to grow and to have all these contrasts and fights and challenges. And one of the other reasons, from what I now vaguely remember, this is very interesting though, to lower the frequency and to make that separation was to actually cure the collective trauma of the remaining individual here on Earth after the flood, because the Tiamat War caused the flood. It was part of the healing process to make them forget, because they were remembering so many tragedies and they were remembering oppressions, because after the flood on Earth, the remaining good ones were also chased by the bad ones. They were hiding in caves, writing these different pictures in the caves. This is another story why those pictograms were created. But one of the reasons, because there is never just one reason for everything, for anything, as they explain. One of the reasons was to heal that trauma in the individuals and help them forget a little bit about what they've gone through. But that's something I don't fully grasp. I will have to go back to the transcript that talks about this. I think there is much more to the story, and it's a very complicated situation. What happened, what continues to be happening. But if you want to go back to the unreal people, I have more to say on that too.
No, because I want to create first the basic knowledge, and by now it leads to the unreal people. But we have to keep in mind the ETs, so the lizards and what we call Anunnakis. Well, Anunnakis is a different name for aliens.
Yes.
They were the bad ones. They were ruling here the world, more or less. They were fighting against interstellar races. And it seems like they're still nowadays here. And to avoid that they gain strength and leave Earth, we have still the Van Allen bands, the projector on the moon, but as well, the whole situation creates for us an environment, a difficult life environment, what I personally believe it is not okay. Maybe many of us, they chose to be in an environment like that. But when you live in it, even so from a higher point of view, it is only a short period of time we suffer.
Yes.
And now I ask myself, how fits in here in this whole idea the unreal humans? What are in connection with the projector on the moon, with our subconscious?
Mm-hmm.
For what do they serve? I know there must be a lot of unreal people around us.
Yes.
Now, Gosia, bitte.
Yes, they told us in the very beginning that even though they don't like numbers, and that's not very exact science, of course, it's just generally there are about 4 unreal people in every 5 people. That's more or less what Svaruo Ferra told us in the very beginning. But again, this is not very exact. What do they serve? Well, it will depend on on different factors. So first, they will serve as a matrix sustainers. So they will be people who will basically hold on to the system very much, who will always have the same answers to all these alternative questions. Like they have this hive mind that is generating all these answers, and they will just respond to everything in the same way. Because there is nothing behind. There is just a matrix program behind. There is just nothing, nothing behind. They dismiss all the higher knowledge, alternative views. They only had these programmed reactions and defending the system. And so that's one of the reasons, just to sustain the matrix and to make it as if the matrix is winning, or to give us even a harder challenge to go against. Because in the end, it's also us who is sustaining those people, because we have projected ourselves into this game, into this false reality, to experience it for whatever reasons, collectively and individually. But that's speaking from the more metaphysical level. Also, they are there to instigate certain reactions, like I said, in us, to NPCs, someone to interact with, someone to complement your daily life. And for example, with these reactions, to instigate reactions, I'll give you a perfect example. My boyfriend Matthias, we are walking on the street, and for some reason, I don't know, he's very sensitive to what people might say, like random people that actually are nothing but potential energy. And that's another point that I want to explain what these people mean. They are just potential energy, basically, and the meaning you give them, that's what is going to mean to you. The role that you assign to them, that's what it's going to give you. That's what it's going to mean to you individually and collectively, because everything is a potential energy in the ether. There is nothing, just energy, and it's the consciousness that gives certain meaning to all these potential energy bundles, and then we interact with that. So just as we give the meaning to the microphone, to whatever it means to us and how we want it to mean for us, or we discard it as nothing, garbage, well, that's the same with those people. So for example, okay, as I was saying, yes,
there is a difference. When we speak about human beings and all what is created by the divine source, it has a soul.
Yes.
And we are all one, because we come all from the same point. Only every time or everything has an own personality. So, but we are basically, when we interact with living beings, if it is a person or an animal, it's the very end. It is us.
Yes.
And they react.
And in a way, yes, it is us. And in the end, if you look at it from the higher perspective, all these unreal people are also us. This is projection from some part of ourselves, whether using the moon technologies. Moon technologies also, everything is us, right? There is no external reality. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying that it all depends on the meaning that you will give it to yourself, to that thing. So going back to Matthias, we are walking on the street, and there is a lady on the street that makes a stupid remark. and about something, and it affects him deeply. And I walk by, and 5 seconds later, that person is out of your reality. It doesn't even, how do you know if it's even there? It's gone. It's back into the ethers. But it did manage to create a reaction. And sometimes that reaction remains with him for a whole day. It ruins his day. It lowers his frequency. So these unreal people many times are to that also, to test ourselves in this field of this construct of reality, to manage our emotion, our reactions. There will be different reasons why they are there. Many times, and this is another very important subject, they are used by negative entities as negative organic portals to access you and to create reaction in you. So at that time, it's not even unreal person anymore. It's a unreal person operated by the entity behind.
And
that
now
is
here, mention please, who are they? We speak here about 4D and biological portals. So here we speak about something what is blending in our reality, basically. So it is something what is a different realities, made low vibrating beings. They can be our own creations. We would call them demons, devils, or only people who lived on Earth who are having a low vibration because they had a bad life and they are not going to higher densities. And they affect us. Sometimes they want to pull us down because they want to create lower vibration in us because they need the lower vibration to survive.
Yes, that's correct.
So it's all very complex.
Yes.
Here we can see a link to the lizard people, because how so far I understood the idea about the 3D matrix, what is used from the moon to lower the vibration, was a big part. They could, in the wars, manipulate quite good the mind of the human beings, of the human Lyrian beings. They could us play with our mind, that we see what they want us to see. For example, the Anunnakis, the tall Anunnakis, 2-3 meters high, lizard people, they played with our mind. So as far I understood, to lower the vibration here on Earth was to lower the capability of those kind of beings to play with our mind. Is this right or is it wrong?
Oh, yes. Yes, that's definitely one of the very important factors. And also, as we are now suspecting with them, is that the whole reason why there's so much effort by the system to be constantly lowering our vibration with fear tactics and all kinds of situations, warmongering and all that, creating fear and suffering, is that to make us compatible in frequency to certain entities that will be then able to continue to exploit us in all different ways. And I'm talking about biological entities, but also entities on the other side, astral entities that are also using the biological entities as an extension of themselves to operate in this physical realm. But it's very deep. It's very deep, the whole scenario. But just to mention the brighter side, if you allow me, the unreal people can also be used by the positive beings to use as a walking. So if an unreal person, in a way, has this sort of a positive vibration, and what does this vibration depend on? Because, as I said, there is no soul, so why would it have a vibration? No, they told us that the vibration will depend on the unreal person, will depend on the role that the real people around them may give them. whatever that, because for example, you could be married to an unreal person. You could be real and be married to an unreal person. And then, the vibration coming from you, the role you attach to that being, it's going to create something positive out of that that potential energy unreal person. And then that potential energy unreal person can be used by the positive extraterrestrial person or a light being or someone from the source to be used as a walking, just like the negative entities are using them. Also the positive ones use, and then that person can become a real person. And that's when you have sudden transformations in people. Suddenly someone awakens and they were never awakened before. They were lost in the system. Suddenly something happens. They had a transformation and they become real, because that's actually literally what happened. That body, that unreal person acquired a soul. A soul entered in that person. So this can be also in the positive way.
It's quite interesting. We never know what is inside our neighbor. Do we have to deal here with a soul, and the atoms around the body is only to make them visible in the third density, or do we have something what is not created with a human body? It is like a pre-human body. It is only interacting with us to give us an experience, a challenging experience, to expand the learning of our soul. And this to identify what is around me, what is me, what is not me, is quite challenging, but as well quite interesting. Those explanations from, I would say your team, or you are part of this team, is not something what is New Age. Basically, the Pleiades, the Taygetans, they do it for thousands of years. What we identify as angels, as beings with wings, this comes from the old Egyptian history, but it is only an explanation about flying beings. Angels are flying beings with ships. So people from other worlds, human beings from other worlds, they educate us with knowledge for thousands of years. And for us, it is old stories. You can't believe in it. There is something what is trying to hold this knowledge away from us. We call this Cabal. But who or what exactly is the Cabal, and how it blends in our personal world nowadays? We are on the age that something is deeply changing here on the world. What would you consider to be the Cabal?
The Cabal is that's a complex concept here, because it extends into many layers, and it cannot be just defined by one specific group. The way it is understood normally is that it is some sort of a deep state shadow group, the government behind the government, the elite that is governing the world and pulling the strings behind all the politicians that are its puppets. However, it does extend into other layers, and then it meets with all these layers of secret societies and Illuminatis, and then it extends into other groups that are actually non-human. So it goes into the non-human levels of this multi-layered organization, so to speak. But when it gets complicated, and this is where my team, as you said, this is where they are famous now for exposing this. They are explaining that this doesn't end just with the regressive ET races and shadowy governments. It extends to the shadowy core of the Galactic Federation itself. So this is where it gets really, really suspicious and complex. And we don't have time now to go into this right now, but basically, as they are explaining, the deep Cabal does extend into the deep layers of the Federation itself. So these are the ultimate managers of what's happening on Earth. These are the ultimate controllers of all the Earth affairs and who is pulling the strings behind. Mm-hmm. However, I do have to say this is very important because on the other hand, this is what they stress as well. The ultimate controllers, more metaphysically speaking, are the people themselves. Because ultimately, it is us who is creating everything, including our own twisted involvement with the Cabal and with the Federation itself. And in the end, it's us who are in charge, even though it may not look so. But we are, because we are the absolute manifestators of realities and creators of worlds. That's how it is. And
through vibration.
Through our vibration.
Yes, and here's a very important point. From the middle of our solar system, not solar system, from the Milky Way in general, from the middle point of our universe, there's something vibrating and hiring in this area where our solar system is, the vibration. We are awakening, let us say it like that. This means to sustain the third density is for the bad ones, the evil ones, for the moon matrix more and more difficult. Do we ascending? When does it stop? When does it start that everyone can feel it, see it, and experience it in their own life?
The higher vibration, the ascended vibration, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, individually, you can experience it at any moment of your existence. And it doesn't matter if you are here on Earth within the moon matrix frequencies or not, or within the matrix frequencies, you can achieve this here as well. And that's why, as I said, it is a challenge for many of these advanced souls to make it here, to make it manifest here. They are bored, and it's too easy for many of these souls to be manifesting things out there. It's very simple, it's very fast, especially if you are in these higher realms. You think and things become. And here you have these appearing obstacles and challenges, and you have to learn how to manage that vibration. You have to learn how to master the creation of realities. And this is a perfect training field for all these different souls. So that's, I'm not justifying, by the way, what the Cabal is doing and what the evil ones is doing. There is a lot of suffering, and that's unjustifiable. But on the other hand, because there's always the other side to everything, on the other hand, like answering your question, you can manifest and be that high vibration and ascended reality now, because it's not a limit to the place. The high vibration is not a place, is you, is your state of mind, is your consciousness, is what you generate. So you can make it a hell, or you can make it a paradise anywhere you are. And even outside Earth's supposed 5D beautiful realm, there are problems and there are situations that you would call very low vibrational situations. And they are outside the 3D interfering destructive frequency. So you see, it happens anywhere because it's your mind that actually makes it happen. So collectively, if enough of us are generating that high vibration by the perceptual collective agreements, we are going to be joining up and collectively manifesting more and more of that for others, also for the unreal people, because in the end, we will be the dominant frequency. We'll be the ones who are in charge of creating the reality for others, not the kind of that seems to be reversed now. We will be the ones manifesting that higher, better world, and unreal people will either have to fall off because they will not be compatible in frequency anymore with this new reality, or they will have to adjust. And because it's an interesting point, there could be unreal people also outside Earth. And this is what one of them, the little girl, told us. She's an extraterrestrial. Yaski, yes. She's very metaphysical, and she told us, well, I don't see why there shouldn't be unreal people outside Earth somewhere, because it's all creation of the mind in the most expanded way. However, of course, they are mostly seen here on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And there are also unreal animals.
And nature. And cities.
That's, you see, we are not sure about that anymore so much, because this is what Anneka told us in the beginning, but the ones that we are speaking to right now, they're like, we are kind of not seeing much of that happening right now. It's also because, remember, a lot of this depends on our mind to sustain it. It's all the projection of the mind. So even if you are projecting something, you can actually cement it into reality with your own mind. It's our interpretation. If enough people will be perceiving the unreal city as real, well, kind of we are like making it happen there. It's the line between what is real, what is not real is very fine. What is real, what is not real, it's all just mind,
It's the very end, yes. But do you think this 3D environment is going to be lifted in the future? We see more and more what we consider to be ETs, drones, flying object in the sky, and I consider all what is like a flying saucer, what is a triangle shape, is really not from outside. This is most of the time what we see. I think this comes more from inside, because we have here our atmosphere, and things need to have a specific shape that they can get from one place to another place. So a starship in space doesn't have problems with the atmosphere. There is no atmosphere, so it can be very bulky. But all what has this shape round and like a flying saucer or a triangle, it seems like this could be from inner Earth or maybe military. When you think about, we have more and more of it. Is it created once again to give us an idea, but it is not true. It's fake.
Oh, this is I can only speculate, because I don't have a specific information or confirmation from them on this subject. Mari Zva also hasn't mentioned that in her videos, and I think it's too connected with the latest U.S. congressional hearings and all that, about them trying to give people certain narrative about their UFOs, and trying to guide them in a certain direction, because they know they can't keep a lid on this for too long. I mean, the people are waking up, and the star seeds are everywhere, step downs are everywhere. Step downs, that's extraterrestrial people physically walking the Earth. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, thousands of them, sometimes even here, mingling. So this cannot be undercovers. So they need to somehow adjust the perception of the humanity to how they want this to be perceived. So I'm not trusting anything coming from the governments. Of course, that's basic. They are always telling us anything that comes out from the official governments, official stories, that's not truth, or it's false, altered to their own agendas, because they are still in power. The Cabal is still there, so they are not giving up that power that easily. So all these drones, I have different ideas. I just published this on my Facebook as well, and other places. It could be a cabal, yes, our own agendas, but maybe even in cooperation with some of them not so positive extraterrestrial races. I'm saying not so positive because who else will be cooperating with the cabal and with those guys? So they could be testing people's reactions. They always have many plans. They don't know sometimes which one to unfold for the people, so they have to be like testing the waters. How will the people react here? How will the people react there? So they are seeing what people are saying about this. It could be many other things as well, but I am not inclined to believe this is like, wow, beautiful, positive extraterrestrials are coming. I don't think so. I mean, especially what I know about the Federation, how they operate, how they are not interested in revealing the greater truth to the humanity, and how they are not interested in this moment to make us interstellar. So this is all very suspicious. It's to do probably with a false alien invasion somewhere there as well. So I'm not trusting that.
Well, this is
Inner Earth. That's interesting. I haven't considered that. It could be that as well. But why would it be so close to these congressional events that just happened, as if it was like fitting with their narrative?
We have these flying things reported in old papers on paintings, many hundred years old. They have an oval shape. They are like a flying saucer and. And when we go back in time after the Second World War, 1947, and reading the writings from General Byrd and his experience on North Pole, South Pole, and flying saucers, the whole story, then it doesn't make sense anymore with this, what we see nowadays. It is not that it is something new. It is now in the foreground because of internet. Everyone has access to knowledge that we didn't have before, and people are awakening and saying, wait a minute, there's something going in a way that we are not more in power. There's going something wrong. There's something splitted. It is we and the government, but it is not more one part. But that's all. And so I think, and we have writings thousands of years old that, and sayings or stories around the world, that on North and South Pole there are holes to inner Earth, and we can enter. Why the Arctic area is prohibited for you, for me, but not for the elite? Are they trying to protect something or someone against us? Or do they hiding something? This is the big question. And here, dear audience, we are digging here in a rabbit hole. We only scratching on the surface with this, what Gosia and the Cosmic Agency channel offer you is much more about history, about the Cabal, modern times. Have a look. We're linking all here in the description of our video. Gosia, 1 hour was passing by like that. It was highly interesting for me, and I hope as well for our audience. And I would like to invite you once again to a different topics, how we have to interpret maybe Egyptians' symbols. Here I don't speak about 3,000-4,000 years old symbols. No, they go much further back in time, before the Great Flood, and the interpretation will shock a lot of people. Gosia, please.
Then you will like my new series I'm going to be working on, because I'll be working on the Egyptian series, where I will explain they will explain a lot of interactions with the Egypt, extraterrestrial involvement, symbology The whole story there is very deep and very connected. Egypt there is very important. So that's going to be on my channel at some point too. Can I just finish with one point?
Yes, sure.
Something that people who are watching this about the unreal people might be asking, because I know on my channel this is like a burning question always. How do I know I am not real? Like they will ask themselves, what if I am not real? Not me. They will ask themselves that question very quickly. If you have thoughts, even if you even thought about this question, that means you are real, that you have a self-questioning soul and you're examining yourself to be real or not. So that in itself points to the fact that you are real. So don't worry. And another point, very important, respect everybody just the same, because we have no way of knowing who is who, like you said about the neighbor. We have no idea what kind of atoms that neighbor is constructed from. So be respectful and treat everyone equally.
Wonderful last word. And dear audience, when you liked our video, be with us the next time when we have a highly interesting person in contact with the beyond Part Talk. See you the next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.